This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Jack Catterall here in Manchester. Jack, I'm sure you did not imagine to have such an entourage of media, shall we say, arriving at your doorstep today, but here we are. How is life treating you there?
Yeah, good to see you. Life's good. Training's going well. Media day in the gym, so busy gym today, but all part of the job, and just excited now to fight in October.
All part of the job, and as you mentioned, excited to get ready for that October date and showdown with Jorge Linares. How's your camp started?
Yeah, camp's been good. We had a couple of weeks rest after the Darafoli fight. We knew a date was coming not quite soon after, so we maintain, we stay in shape, and you know me well enough, Andy, that I'm in the gym year round, so it's perfect for me. They announced the date, and I'll be ready for it.
Why Jorge Linares, Jack?
You know what it is? These last 3 years, there's been so many stints of inactivity. My what's the word for it now? My command to Sam and the team is I want to fight. I want to stay busy now. We know how I've wanted to fight the Taylor rematch. That wasn't the Prograis fight, etc. etc. We want some of these big fights and these world title fights, but nothing seems available right now. And when the phone rings and they say you can headline in Liverpool against Jorge Linares, sign me up for it. I'm not in a position to turn down fights and be sat waiting on people's mandatories and dates. I want to stay busy, and the Linares fight excites me.
It's an interesting one because obviously there have been critics of the Jorge Linares fight simply because he's obviously coming on the back of a few defeats back to back now. He isn't the fighter he once was. Still a legend in the sport, don't get me wrong, but he's not that same man he was 3, 4, 5 years ago. Do you understand the critics of this fight?
Of course I do, and you know what? I anticipated there to be a lot more critics when the fight was announced, but from what I've seen, I've had a good reaction online. You get the critics, and I understand it. He's not the former fighter he was maybe 5, 10 years ago, but still, and like I just said to you, I'm not in a position to just stay at home and stay in the gym and not have fight dates coming up. I want to be busy, and I think a win over Linares does put me in the right direction going forward for a fight with a Haney, a Prograis, etc.
You'll be going in as a favourite, Jack, and as we mentioned, kind of how Jorge is and that fighter that he once was. Do you feel like there is that pressure to make sure you make a bit of a statement against him?
You know what? I know the task ahead, and I know Linares is preparing well for the fight. You can see that through his social media and the stuff that goes online. So I know I've got my work cut out of him. I know he'll be a shot. Nothing like he was 10 years ago, but he can do everything in that ring. So it's up to me to train hard and be prepared and deal with him.
For you, Jack, how does this fight play out?
A win. You know what? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to knock him out early, knock him out late, and do this to him. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to adapt. I'm going to beat him, whether that be a knockout or points. I'm coming to get the victory.
You know, Jorge Linares is somebody who likes to be aggressive. He will come forwards and he'll try to push you back. That kind of works well for you because we know how slick you are on your back foot. Do you think that shot will set up for you at some point though, where he kind of walks onto one?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's going to come looking for it. I'm sure he doesn't want to fly over to Liverpool and go 12 rounds. I've seen the comments he's made. He's going to come and take my head off, etc. So I think that'll work into my favour. We'll see. He might flip it on his head. He might run around all night, but I can't see it happening. I think he's going to come, and I think he's going to walk onto something big.
Obviously, we know we're expecting to get Haney-Prograis next, Jack. But why did the Prograis fight fall through for you? Because by all accounts, that was the one which everybody was expecting to see get made from Matchroom. Yeah,
we've seen Lomachenko calling for the rematch with Haney. Haney's decided to move up to 140 from 135. He gets the rights, is it? I don't know the correct terminology, but he gets to come up and get a shot at the world title. And unfortunately for me, he picked to go down the route of the WBC. I do believe Prograis had a mandatory in Sando Martin. But again, this supersedes that, and ultimately, Prograis is going to fight Haney next. I think that he's yet to sign the contract. We're waiting on a new date and venue, so we'll see.
Is there a chance, Jack, if that fight doesn't get made and keeps getting pushed back, if, say, in a month's time you've had your fight with Jorge Linares, you could potentially quickly revisit that and maybe get back out once more towards the very back end of this year or early next year, and the Prograis fight could still be a possibility for you?
Yeah, of course. A lot of possibilities, a lot of good fights to be made, but I won't be the fool that overlooks anybody. I'll beat Linares, and I'll be I'll be doing a job on October the 21st, and then after that we can see the landscape and what fights are there to be made and what are not, and make a decision from there.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who's bashed you about Josh Taylor today. We know about those talks have continued to be mentioned. Eddie's mentioned potentially you two facing off early next year. If it was down to you, Jack, would you rather fight for a world title or have that rematch and put to bed the rivalry with Josh Taylor?
You know what? I'd love to fight Regis for the WBC title. That fight excites me, but I'd love to beat Josh Taylor up, beat him to a pulp. I know we got beat by Lopez and has set the blueprint for that, but I'd love to finish him.
Do you think we get that one next year, the rematch?
Never say never. I do think that fight's bubbling away somewhere. He's called for it not too long ago, so listen, I'm fighting Linares next, but Josh can get it.
Just to end one with Josh, they've spoken about the rematch, obviously, and they've said if it was to happen, it would be at a new weight, whether it be a catch weight or 147. Does that bother you? Do you care, or does it have to be for you at 140?
It doesn't bother me. He's a muppet. Made weight, best he've ever made it last time. He's nutritionist, etc. People have spoke to them, and no problem making 140. Just lack of discipline, sometimes in his camps maybe. But if that's the excuse, if that's the reason he wants to warrant to move in 147, I'd beat him at that weight as well.
Jack, just a word on Haney-Prograis as well. What are your thoughts on that, if it does get rubber stamped?
I do think it's a real 50-50 fight. I think Haney's very big for lightweight coming up to 140, so I think it's not going to be too much of a size difference. You're talking like a little fighter coming up, so good clash of styles. Probably couldn't pick a winner for that fight. Be really interesting to see.
Regis Prograis didn't impress people against the rear last time out. Does that add to a sense of frustration at all for yourself? Because I'm sure you watching him might have been licking your lips, thinking if you was in that situation, you might have got that result against him.
I was calling for that fight, and we'd almost had a deal done for that fight way before that last fight. So I know a lot of fighters have jumped on it, saying I would love to fight him, etc. Maybe on the back of a bad performance, and I get it. Not every fight can be the perfect performance that you want. So I'm sure he was frustrated, and the Regis I know is a lot better fighter than that, and that's the fighter that I'd like to fight.
Jack, obviously we're all up here in Manchester as well. The media has ascended onto this city because this weekend we see Liam Smith, Smith-Eubank Jr. too. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, for me it's a repeat. It's a Liam Smith win. I can't see any other outcome.
How?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it went early. I think this time maybe a few more rounds. Maybe Eubank tries to spoil a bit more, try and wear Liam down a bit, take him a few more rounds to break him down maybe. But I do think Liam will get to him at some point. I think this time it might take a few more rounds, maybe after 6. But I do see Liam winning.
I know Chantal was due to be here too, but she's not. She's left you to take care of all of the interviews. But how has she been looking ahead of her rematch with Katie Taylor?
Chantal's looking good. Her fight's a month after my fight, so it's exciting. We've got a lot of fighters in the gym preparing for dates that are coming up, so everyone's pushing each other. Chantal's been in camp early, really. I know she's not here today, but things are going good.
What do you expect to see in the rematch between the pair of them?
Again, I think a repeat, and I think Chantal can really do the damage this time. I think there's a feeling once you've been in the ring with somebody once, you've got more of a feel for it. I think we're going straight into round 13, and I think if Chantal ups it a little bit, I think she can probably stop her.
Just the final one, Jack. Just because it happened this past weekend, we saw Daniel Dubois fall short in his attempt to become unified champion. What did you make of his performance and his defeat?
You know what? It was. You could tear it apart a million ways. It looked low. It didn't look low. I don't know. I'm not the judge of that. For me, Usyk was boxing well, beating him almost every department. Daniel was hurting him to the body. I think he should have capitalised more on that. And it was frustrating to see him go down. Got back to his knees after 3 seconds, and then he kind of don't want to use the word quit, but I think he was demoralised at that point. But for me, when there's 3 world titles on the line and a Ring magazine, you do anything in your power to win. I think he should have gone out on his shield and dug deep and tried to find another great body shot to finish him with.
Oh, Jack, I'm sure you feel like you've done more talking than you'd signed up for, like I say, so I appreciate this, and I'll leave you crack on with your session. Thank you.
Appreciate that.